Mariupol in Ukraine is known as a city that has a large Greek community. Also, 10 Greek nationals were killed in a bombing near Mariupol in the very first days of the war. What are you hearing today about the situation on the ground from the people there?
Well, in the area of Mariupol, there are living more than 120,000 citizens of Greek descent. And unfortunately, until now, there hasn't been any way to evacuate these people out of this city. The thing is that they are now for more than 10 days in the middle of fights coming from the south and the north. So we are talking about an encircled city by Russian forces that has been severely attacked. And although we have cried for let these people out of Mariupol, so far no ceasefire has been actually observed by the Russian army. We still have diplomats in Mariupol. There is a Greek consul general. He's actually hiding in some basement, deprived of electricity, very difficult to communicate and to see what's the situation. And we actually try to find ways how to communicate and to get actually an idea of what's happening on the ground, which is becoming day after day very difficult.
Can you please give us some numbers, if you have them, on how many people have already arrived to the country, what they can count on upon arrival, where do they settle, if you have this person?
Well, most of the people that have arrived so far, there are people who have already relatives or friends that can host them. So there isn't any pressure for the Greek system that, you know, it has been developed during the Syrian crisis, and we have a lot of infrastructure, and we have a lot of knowledge, a capacity to accommodate people. The numbers are still quite few compared to other countries. We are talking about more or less 10,000 people who have arrived in Greece. We are going to give also a helping hand to Poland to take people out of Poland for Greece. I think that the society is ready to welcome them, and there are a lot of also arrangements that we can do for these refugees. I mean, temporary jobs or temporary shelters are ready to welcome them. And we are going definitely to grant them this one-year permit that, if there is need, and I hope there isn't, but if there is need, this is going to be prolonged for as much as needed.
Over 2 million people have already fled Ukraine, and it looks like the largest refugee crisis in modern history. To what extent do you think Europe has enough resources to help all these people?
Let me be open and frank. I don't think, and I don't see any particular problem in accommodating people coming from Ukraine. This is not the case with people coming from other parts of the world. First of all, there is a shortage of working hands in Europe, and definitely the Ukrainians can be absorbed immediately in the labor market. A lot of great Ukrainian communities live in almost all European countries, so there is already a contact point. And the third thing is that now we are talking mainly about children and women that are more easily protected through our systems. So it is a heavy burden, but it's not an impossible task.
As Russian war in Ukraine started, the EU responded in a very solid, strong manner. providing Ukraine with additional weapons, but also by imposing the most severe sanctions on Russia. To what extent do you think these measures may be effective?
I'm glad that my country was among the countries that ran fast and actually provided the Ukraine with arms from them and ammunition from them very beginning. And we were also from the front runners in trying to impose these sanctions that have been already agreed. It's important for the sanctions that have been agreed to be implemented as well, because Europe hasn't developed any mechanism of putting sanctions at such a high level, so we need some time in order to implement them. But also we have to make sure that the Western world and the Western alliance doesn't allow any loopholes in the system of the sanctions.